Have you ever wondered what would happen if history took a slightly digital turn? What if one of the most influential figures of the 20th century didn't just lead a political revolution, but a technological one? Today, we're diving into an alternate reality, a world where Chairman Mao Zedong traded his little red book for a digital ledger. This is the story of Mao and the Great Crypto Revolution. Picture this. It's sometime between the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, but with a crucial twist. Someone's invented Wi-Fi. In the Great Hall of the People, Mao Zedong is staring at a mountain of ledgers, the national accounts a tangled mess. The numbers just won't add up. With a deep sigh, he turns to his comrades. "Paper money," he declares, "is too physical, too predictable. We need something revolutionary, something magical." And with that single thought, the course of history wasn't just altered, it was tokenized. Mao Zedong had just invented cryptocurrency. He called it Redcoin, TM. And its slogan, "In crypto, we trust, comrades." Now, every good revolution needs a manifesto, and Redcoin was no different. Mao unveiled its core principles to a bewildered party. First, decentralization. There would be no central bank. Except, of course, for the chairman himself. Obvious, right? Second, transparency. All transactions would be visible on a public ledger. Visible to Mao, his inner circle, and maybe a few well-placed invisible sensors. And finally, mining. But forget pickaxes and hard hats. This was digital mining, powered by supercomputers running on pure revolutionary optimism and a network of repurposed rice cookers. The Communist Party was baffled. They were experts in long marches and propaganda posters, but digital wallets, blockchain, this was a whole new frontier. One nervous advisor finally spoke up. "Comrade Mao, how do we stop the people from hoarding red coins?" Mao, stroking his chin with a thoughtful expression, replied with a sly grin, "We don't. That is the beauty of revolution, with interest." The red coin boom was instantaneous and absolute. It swept across the nation faster than a revolutionary slogan. Suddenly, everyone in China had a red coin wallet. Farmers were mining coins on their smartphones while tending to their fields. Students mined between chapters of books that were, frankly, only slightly less revolutionary than Redcoin itself. Rumor had it that even Chairman Mao's cat had a private wallet, though its crypto holdings remained a state secret. The economy transformed overnight. Bartering pigs for rice? That was ancient history. Now, people could trade virtual pigs for other virtual pigs, and then exchange those for verifiably real digital rice. Economics had officially entered the realm of the wonderfully absurd. Outside of China, the world watched in utter confusion. On Wall Street, financial analysts were scratching their heads, their complex models completely useless against this new economic force. Bitcoin? Please. Redcoin was the real game changer. It even had its own line of Mao-themed NFTs. A digital collectible titled Little Red Book Meme Nike 42 reportedly sold for millions of red coins. The digital art market was booming, with pixelated portraits of the chairman fetching astronomical prices. International diplomacy became incredibly awkward. Instead of trade deals, world leaders were trying to negotiate airdrops. The CIA tried to infiltrate the network, but their agents just ended up losing all their funds on a bad investment in a Long March fitness app that paid out in Redcoin. The global financial system was on the verge of a Mao-induced meltdown. But, as with all meteoric rises, a correction was inevitable. After some time, Mao began to notice a troubling trend. Redcoin had become too popular, even for him. The spirit of revolution was giving way to the spirit of wild speculation. Virtual bakeries were selling digital dumplings for prices that could fund a small country. Worse, some of the most successful miners were becoming independent. They were setting up their own mining pools, creating their own tokens. and some even refused to bow before statues of the chairman. This was not the decentralized utopia he had envisioned. Well, the version he controlled anyway. An emergency meeting was called. Standing before his comrades, Mao announced gravely, "We must regulate everything." And so began the great crypto crackdown, led by the very man who started it all. The Wild West of the digital frontier was about to get a new sheriff. Red coin mining was no longer a free-for-all. It became a state-sanctioned activity. To get a mining license, you had to prove your revolutionary credentials. Transaction fees were no longer just a percentage. They were measured in units of revolutionary devotion. Anyone caught hoarding red coins, without displaying the proper number of propaganda posters in their home, was politely asked to reinvest their holdings into the National Morale Fund. Private wallets were audited for ideological purity. Yet, despite the heavy-handed regulations, red coin didn't die. It adapted. It went underground, thriving in peer-to-peer networks, quietly teaching the world an important lesson. Even the most rigid ideologies can't fully control a truly decentralized idea. And, more importantly, they can always be turned into memes. Today, in this alternate timeline, historians and economists still argue about Mao's true intentions. Was he a visionary trying to modernize China's economy overnight? Or did he just get bored and want to create a real-life, high-stakes version of Monopoly to play with his party officials? The truth is probably somewhere in between. But for the people, the legacy of red coin is clear. Mao didn't just lead a revolution, he mined it, block by block, and somewhere deep within the immutable ledger of the blockchain, a single red coin transaction from 1969 is still pending, forever waiting for final approval from the ghost of Chairman Mao himself. What a wild ride, right? It just goes to show that history is full of fascinating what-ifs. If you enjoyed this trip to an alternate reality, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into the strange and wonderful corners of history and imagination. Let us know in the comments what other historical figure you'd like to see get a crypto makeover. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.